Welcome back. I have Captain Jeff Puckett, who is here from the Orange County Sheriff's Department, and he's going to tell us all about what you do, your new position, and also what's going on in our community here.
Well, thank you for having me on this morning. Appreciate it. So, as you said, I'm the new captain to the area, and I think the viewers should know that prior to working down here, I ran our North Patrol division, which encompasses a number of contract cities in North County. So, new to the position, but not new to the job, so to speak. So, we would like to take the time today to introduce our Southwest division, which obviously encompasses the city of Laguna Woods, and just kind of talk about the direction that we're going to be going over the next 18 months and how that affects the people that live here.
Okay.
So for the Southwest division, we encompass 7 different contract cities, which include obviously the beautiful city of Laguna Woods, San Clemente, Dana Point, San Juan Capistrano. Gets a little long-winded, so stay with me.
That's no problem.
Laguna Hills, Laguna Niguel, and Aliso Viejo.
Okay.
And so with that, we serve a population total of about 300,000 people and encompass an area of about 72 square miles. And what's interesting about that is usually the Sheriff's Department being kind of the lowest priced game in town. And whenever we say that, people usually scratch their heads because lower prices usually means not as good of quality. But typically the areas that we serve are within the safest cities in the nation. As a matter of fact, this division is constantly ranked as one of the top 100 safest areas in the nation.
Okay.
So, interesting fact. There's 270 people assigned to the division. And I like to stress that point because the Sheriff's Department, having over 4,000 people assigned to the department, are at the disposal of Laguna Woods. And even though there are only 6 contracted deputies here in times of emergency, the full power of the Sheriff's Department is available to help keep the citizens here safe.
Okay, well that's good to know that they have that many people that they could refer to if needed.
An army, almost.
An army, pretty much.
Yeah.
I know, it's like having a troop.
Yes,
all right,
ma'am.
Excellent. All right, so what are exactly the I know you patrol the area, but there's a lot of other things that go on. So what are some of the other responsibilities that you have for these areas?
Well, we are responsible for everything that could possibly happen public safety wise for the areas that we serve. And we want to highlight maybe the direction that we're going to go for this division. And obviously public safety is always going to be at the top of the list, but some of the things that we're going to put an emphasis on, if you will, would be first and foremost some of our community policing efforts. As a matter of fact, your chief of police services, who will be on subsequently in later episodes, is at a Coffee with a Cop event down off Moulton Parkway at the Coffee Bean.
Okay.
And if your viewers are available, the address for that is 24380 Moulton Parkway, and that event will be going on until 10 o'clock this morning.
Okay.
And it's a good opportunity for them to meet their chief and the deputies assigned to the community and have a conversation about the things that are going on and what are some of the things that we can do to increase public safety in this area.
Okay. So now what day is that?
Right now.
Oh, that's right now.
Yeah,
oh, gosh.
started at 8 o'clock this morning.
Okay, is that something that's going to be ongoing though? So it's not
Yes, ma'am.
necessarily just today?
So you'll see more events like that. You'll see another event, which if we can now make some jokes, I'd appreciate it, but donuts with deputies. You'll see some of that for some of our other morning viewers. And you're going to see your chief on this episode and future episodes going forward from now on to talk about different things that happen in the community. As a matter of fact, on August 22nd, he'll be doing a seminar at Laguna Hills City Hall to talk about fraud prevention and some of the scams that affect this population.
Well, that's great because there are a lot of scams that are going on. And it's not just to the elderly, it's to old people, but nonetheless, it seems that sometimes the elderly are falling for these things much easier these days because people are getting so smart on the phone.
Well, they're sophisticated, but so are we, and so our goal here is to educate the public, which goes into our next focus, which is going to be crime prevention.
Okay.
Now you're going to see in coming episodes, your chief will talk about things like Stay Safe OC, which is an overall program sponsored by Sheriff Barnes to talk about different ways that the community can be, as he says, co-collaborators of their own safety. How can we involve the community to make sure that we're all being as safe as possible?
Right.
So that would include things also like neighborhood watch and different venues that the public's already aware of.
Now, Tim Moy, as you know, he's our chief of security here, and he comes on pretty regularly to tell us a lot about what's going on, primarily some of the things that you're talking about.
Sure.
And they have captains for each little community, and they do a really good job here of really educating. So how do you guys work with our chief of security?
Well, to put it bluntly, we work very well with your chief of security, and I would say this community should feel very lucky and blessed that he is at the helm. I don't think it's any secret that he's a former commander with our organization and really just an icon with the Sheriff's Department. You could probably tell that he's also a close friend of mine, and the reason that I think that's important that everyone knows is because it's those relationships when there's a time of crisis or need that become critically important towards increasing public safety. They always say that when the event happens, that isn't the first time that you want to meet the other individual in charge. That relationship, if it's already established, makes for a much more smooth incident and helps to keep the people safe overall.
Excellent, excellent. All right, so emergency preparation.
Yes, that's our next thing. And so with that, I know it's been talked about before, but you'll hear us continue to stress it, but there's a program called Alert OC, which is a notification process that we can get into more in other episodes coming up. And I think Michelle Anderson may have spoke to it 2 days ago on a different episode as well. But earthquakes that just happened, it is fire season, and we've had fires down here before. We want to make sure that everybody knows what the plan is and what we can do to assist with evacuations and just overall that mitigation ahead of time.
Great,
So,
great.
yeah.
And then homelessness, we have seen it right here in our own backyard. And I know you're a liaison for a lot of that, or are you not a liaison for us? Or tell me your responsibility with that.
It's interesting because when everyone starts their career, they obviously want to do the things I think that are more exciting with police work. They want to arrest the bad guys and do things of that nature. And so for me, I don't know if I've ever set out to be the quote unquote homeless expert for the department, but that's certainly the mantra that's been bestowed upon me. So I say that with a little tongue in cheek, but the sheriff has an expectation that homelessness in this area is addressed, and we do that with a philosophy of what we call outreach and enforcement. So our philosophy is that the Sheriff's Department has an obligation to protect the constitutional rights of everybody in the jurisdiction that we serve. And just because somebody's homeless doesn't mean, in fact, that that alone is a criminal activity. So we want to make sure that our deputies are trained that when we come across somebody that doesn't have a place to sleep, that we can provide outreach to try and get them into a better situation in life.
Right.
But we would also stress that just because you're homeless doesn't give you a free pass to break the law.
Right.
So the only thing that gets a touch tricky is when it comes to illegal camping, and the courts, the federal courts, have been very clear that shelter is what's needed to enforce that law, and right now that's just not an option that we have. Laguna Woods, however, is a different story because behind the gates it's private property.
Right.
And so we have an excellent relationship again with Tim Moy and his staff towards using some different strategies to mitigate any issues behind the gates.
Right, and so far it seems like you guys are well ahead of what's going on in some other cities. We're finding that it's kind of taking over. So learning from that, you certainly can get ahead of the situation. So.
Yeah, and it's an issue that we continue to address and develop and look at on a daily basis.
Excellent, excellent. So you talked about the community outreach. What about, I don't know, overall, like what kind of things are going on today other than fraud that you would alert our citizens to be aware of?
Well, I would tell you the things that we would talk about are things that I feel the citizens here are already doing. You know, my mother is a citizen of Laguna Woods and lives not too far from here, as a matter of fact. And I think Laguna Woods has always had an excellent informal neighborhood watch program, if you will. Everybody here is very in tune into what's going on with the community, and that's very unlike any other cities that we serve. And I would tell you that is probably one of the main reasons that Laguna Woods is as safe as it is. The deputies and the security staff can only be so many places, but as the citizens who live there, if they're keeping a watchful eye on things and reporting to us, it's that co-collaboration that really keeps things as safe as they are. So what I would encourage is, if you see something, say something. If you see something, say something.
Right.
And continue to call us. And it's worked out well so far.
Perfect. Well, is there any last things that you'd like to let us know about?
No.
You've covered everything quite well.
We just appreciate the opportunity to be part of this community and continue to serve it. And I would ask that your city chief, Gene Inouye, who will be on in future episodes, stay in contact with him and continue to address the community needs through him, and we'll be here to serve.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to the information. Thank you so much for being here today.
A pleasure. Thank you.
And remember that you can go to Coffee Bean right here on Moulton this morning up till 10 o'clock so you can chat with our local sheriff today. We'll be right back.